a little bit and should be able to. Nice. All right. We're live. So we should be able to see everybody here in just a moment. Awesome. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It is Monday, and holy crap, there's a lot going on, right? So it's good to see everybody. Thank you for tuning in, and welcome, of course, to the Firebrand report, brought to you in conjunction with Banner and Backbone Media. And I'm looking forward to getting you guys the latest information on what's happening in Iran. So obviously there's a lot of things going on right now, and I want to make sure that what I provide you is verifiable, that it is backed by data, and I'm going to give you guys my position, kind of how I thought things were going to play out, how they've played out, and whether or not this is kind of going which way this is going, right? So there's a lot of interest. I mean, it's the United States is not performing probably as they anticipated, but more so the United States, Iran is performing or really punching above their weight, and I think that as we see this situation continue to develop, we're going to see more and more of this. We're going to see more and more of a country that was seriously underestimated here. And this is really, let's see here, Lucas attack drone model and was recently largely attacked. Okay, so I have updates over here running as well. So if anything pops up, I'll let you know during the show. But we're gonna spend the time to really get you guys a solid understanding of what's happening right now. Particularly, we're going to look at where and what has been struck. We're going to look at casualties confirmed versus casualties that are within question. And we're going to look at the overall efficacy of this operation, as well as give you guys kind of an outlook on how things are going to go. So far, actually, this has been pretty consistent with my analysis, how this is developing. If anything, maybe a little bit faster than I anticipated, which is largely attributable to the fact that I think the United States military is not what it was at all. And in fact, I think it's much worse than, it's much worse than I anticipated in that. Yeah, I mean, it's worse than I anticipated. And they're answering the right question. What happens when we run out of interceptors? We're going to talk about all those things. Interceptors might be the thing I'm watching the most closely. It certainly actually is, in terms of what I think is most important. And we're starting to see already things cracking. And on day 2, I was actually anticipating this kind of stress wouldn't appear until day 3 or 4. So, going into day 3, we could see a lot more damage than I honestly thought, as things scale. And there's going to be a lot of repercussions for this, and there's just really no debating that. So thank you, everybody, for joining me today. Thank you for coming to the Firebrand report. What we do here is very clear. I'm going to bring you guys the best information available. Everything that I tell you has been verified and cross-checked across multiple sources. If I don't know something, I'm going to tell you whether or not I am speculating. The information you get here is 100% verifiable, and you can confidently share this with others, and I encourage you to do so. If you are a citizen writer or a citizen reporter, this is meant for you, to give you all the information you need to go and write about these things as well. If you are just a citizen, this is for you because you deserve the same quality of reporting and the same scope of information that the journalists get, and essentially what they choose to translate into their reporting, opinion piece or not. That's not what I'm giving you. I'm giving you the whole picture that they had the opportunity to look at, not what they decided was relevant or important. And that is really a big deal. We really just the timeline and all of this is really contingent on a lot of things, a lot of factors. And my analysis, um I tend to be a kind of cynical. I tend to err on the side of the worst thing, because I find that usually happens. And so, particularly when it comes to the decisions made by the United States, particularly the decisions made um, around whether or not this strike was something worth doing. And I put out a note yesterday. I stand by that. If if I was, I said this is how I would have conducted the operation in Iran. I wouldn't have, because it was going to go poorly from the beginning. And that, to be candid, from where I'm standing, the United States has already symbolically lost. So at this point, it's really like, what is the U.S. winning? Well, the only real way they can claim victory is if they destroy Iran. But even then, what you'll see is probably what you see in every Middle Eastern country. When you destroy the sitting government, you see the fracturing into multiple paramilitary groups and militias that operate with autonomy. And of course, all of Iran's missiles are still going to be there, even if they destroy the regime. So, that'll probably just be spread out and harder to keep track of all of these entities. I mean, it's very clear that everything is overstretched. So, with all of that said, we're going to go ahead. We're going to hop into the report today. I may be joined by Sherrod Sweeney from Senator America if he has the time. So, we'll keep an eye out for that. Me and him have been working very closely. I've been working in an independent capacity to provide analysis for Senator America. That is something I'm happy to do, and I am going to be doing the same thing for Banner and Backbone. So make sure if you're watching on Banner and Backbone as well, you'll start to see that there. And I'm going to be operating in a independent geopolitical analyst position to make sure that I can help support these other creators with getting you guys quality analysis, and just making this as widely available as possible. So, a good point here being brought up about oil, where we're going to talk about a lot of these things. But yes, there's a ton going on here, and there's just a lot of things to consider. So with all that said, my friends, let's get into the news today. So it is March 2nd, 2026. I am reporting to you from the sunny coast of California, in what was once the United States, but it's hard to tell what this country is anymore. But most importantly, you're watching the Firebrand report live, and the world's on fire. The Middle East is on fire, and let's talk about it. So, everybody, let's get into the show. Let's get into the news. There's going to be some information as well attached to this live video that will be, part of the, what would normally be the newsletter, but it's going to be a little different. It's going to be an independent analysis that can be used as well, that I'm also distributing to people that I'm privately working for as well in that capacity. So this is the bread and butter of what I do. And I'll make sure to include the vast majority of that in the video. So let's kind of just get into it. So let's talk about, the current state of things, and a really important, a really important thing to kind of consider as we look into this is how this actually kind of started and where we are now. So, you know, in I said before I went offline last week, I said, I really hope that they don't strike Iran because I don't want to work over the weekend. I might have jinxed myself because I am running on 12 hours of sleep over the last 3 days. And uh, I'm pretty dead inside, but we're here and we're working on all of this to make sure we get this information out. Um, so I'm going to kind of just go over a little bit of how things started. So, of course, on February 28th, we saw the US and Israel light up Iran. The skies were filled with jets and ballistic missiles, Tomahawks from guided missile submarines, Arleigh Burke class destroyers, hundreds of aircraft carrying out strikes all across Iran. There's now been thousands, I believe over 1,000, probably much higher strikes across the country of Iran. Pretty much anything that wasn't underground, they're bombing. There was a certain degree of attrition for sure. They did take out a percentage of Iran's mobile launchers, but Iran was able to retaliate extremely effectively with that first wave. And we saw that within hours, Iran launched a salvo that was very effective. On March 1st and 2nd, we saw that fighting continue. But, you know, I want to talk about in particular that the big thing I think to note here in particular is that you're seeing the you're seeing the U.S. has been struck a lot, and beyond that, Iran's contingency it, in their ability to continue functionally conducting offensive action and retain control despite the killing of Khamenei, which I was surprised that he was above ground. He'd been underground for weeks, so the fact that he came above ground was pretty crazy. It might have been the reason actually that they did launch the strike when they did, if they had intelligence on his whereabouts, because I do believe a big part of this strategy for them from the beginning was decapitation and forcing regime change. But it's pretty clear at this point that it's not that case at all. And it actually looks like Sherrod texted me, so I'm going to send him just a little link here really quick. So bear with me while I send him this in case he can join, because me and Sherrod from Centered America have been working very closely on this. So I'm going to send this to him. I saw him in the chat, so if he can join, he will do that. So, in the current capacity that we're seeing these operations carried out, Iran has yet to be. I mean, they are slowing, sure, in tempo, but honestly, I'm not really sure that. I honestly don't even think that we've seen the largest attack that will come out of Iran. If I were them, my strategy would be largely attached to a slower, more kind of controlled early phases to deplete U.S. interceptor stockpiles and stockpiles around the region. And then I would start to launch larger waves only after I have effectively after I have been able to take out and decline that interceptor rate. So Iran's retaliatory response has now hit every major U.S. footprint in the Gulf, plus Israel and Iraq. So I'm going to say that again. Iran's response has hit every single major U.S. footprint facility in the Gulf and Israel and Iraq. There is direct U.S. reported killed in action remains relatively low, but we've seen 4 fighter jets lost, 3 of which to friendly fire in Kuwait. The 4th, I am uncertain of the actual reasoning, but I'm seeing across multiple outlets that there is now 4 jets. So I'm going to give that like a 70% possibility that we are up to 4 jets. So some Turkish outlets that I monitor reported on 4 at this point. So we've seen bigger, these are huge losses. These jets are millions of dollars. The United States doesn't just lose planes like this. So it's pretty humiliating. It's pretty humiliating for the United States. I mean, to go even beyond that, right? So you have, additionally, when I titled this, "The Middle East is on fire," I'm really not kidding. I mean, they have hit every single country. They told us exactly what they were going to do. And here I am with Sherrod. Let me go ahead. Sherrod, what is going on, brother? And welcome. I'm so glad that you could make it. Let me fix. Why am I so big?
I
I
feel
gotta give
so
you some.
small.
What the hell? Well, you're not small though. You're like just as a. Let's see. Oh, what am I doing here? You're tiny. It's cracking me up. What's going on? That'll do it.
I
How
just
about
stay
that?
like this the
There
whole
he
time.
is. There
Hello.
he is.
Great to
Yes.
see
Hello,
you.
everybody. Sherrod, welcome. I'm so glad you could make it. Me and Sherrod have been working very closely over the last weekend. Like I kind of said in the beginning, I'm operating in a independent analyst capacity to assist with Centered America and
Yeah.
provide some of that content outside of what I do for the Firebrand project. So I'm really happy to be offering my work to Centered America and being able to collaborate with Sherrod to bring you guys this information. So, Sherrod, I was just talking about how the scale of the Iranian response and their ability to strike all 14 bases, the entire U.S. footprint in the Middle East, as well as the bases in Iraq and Israel. Sherrod has been really watching very closely a lot of these strikes. And, Sherrod, what's your observation on the severity of the response in terms of these missiles? And how would you define, the effectiveness, at least in appearance, of these strikes at this moment in time?
Honestly, I think that the U.S. and Israel severely underestimated Iran's capabilities militarily. Looking at these strikes, they need multiple interceptors just to bring down one missile. I've seen videos where it's taken 11 interceptors to take down one missile. And
Wow.
yeah, and I can show you, I can pull it up. It's insane. It's
Yeah,
actually
send it. We'll play it. I've got a couple videos. We're gonna show also the hypersonic missiles because we're starting to see that Iran is now using its hypersonic missiles. It hasn't used that yet. Those are uninterceptable.
by the way, think about
Pretty,
this in terms of money. $250,000 Iran missile, right? $44 million worth of interceptors to take it out. This is where our money is going. And some of these aren't even being taken out. They are hitting. Like Iran is still able to impact these interceptors aren't doing the damage that we think or we're supposed to think that they're doing. Here's a little video that we can add to the
Yeah, if you send it in our chat, I'll pull it up. And I actually have videos. Reuters is finally putting out images. Like I said yesterday, I believe in the collaborative report that I did with you guys, as well as this one, my last night, is we're going to start to see the satellite footage coming out to confirm strikes, and we are starting to get that. And it is telling a picture that is far in excess of what the U.S. is reporting. The U.S. has no incentive to be truthful about the Iranian response. The war is already extremely unpopular at home. So, they're going to downplay casualty counts. They're going to downplay damage. And that's absolutely what we're seeing. So I've got this video here. that Sherrod has provided, and we will go ahead and we'll put that on screen, and we will
All these
watch
videos
that.
I made sure to verify, so they are posted on X. I did make sure to verify.
Yep. So we'll do that here. We have this video here, and so what we can do, I want to blow this up maybe. All right, so here we go. And you know, when you see these things going up in the sky, those are interceptors, right? So you know, some people think that, oh my God, that whole barrage, well, those are actually going up, those aren't coming in. They usually launch these fairly in advance. So all of these systems work in conjunction with radar, which is a really important thing to note. Because if you saturate the radar space with Shahed drones or lesser missiles, it's going to be harder for those interceptors to find the target, which is why we're seeing like this video. I mean, 11 interceptors, like that is, we're talking about stockpiles in the hundreds, okay? Like the hundreds, not the thousands, but the hundreds. 11 is 10% of 11% of, I mean, that's crazy. The fact that, and clearly this missile warranted 11. You know, so they are worried about the things that are getting through. So there's our incoming. All right, we're going to launch that last booster, and Iran still impacts.
Yeah.
Look at that. I mean, like this, and so there they are. They're going.
That's our tax dollars right there.
This, like, I think Israel is going to run out of interceptors for the United States, and you know, Israel's getting pummeled, and there's a reason. It's because I think they lied about how much they used during the 12-day war. They started using their laser systems, which are like not combat proven at all, to try and intercept a lot of these things. So you know, you can see, I mean,
I sent some videos in the chat, videos to show. They have been hitting oil tankers, American oil tankers. They have been, we see Israel using their laser defense weapon. We see just tons of videos of Iranian missiles effortlessly flying by, you know, millions of dollars worth of Israeli interceptors. Like it's constantly happening. It is nonstop. Right now, it appears we're looking at satellite footage.
So these are images. We're starting to get the first images out of Israel. Again, I have to confirm, like, guys, they're downplaying the response. Okay, they're downplaying the response. Like, this is Israel right now. Like, these are strikes. You know, you have Israel anti-air systems, you know, breaking up in the sky. Look, these are lots of homes. Look at these cars. That's a house. Like, that probably killed somebody, right? Like, somebody's dead there. I doubt, you know, look at this. They're telling me that, there you go, dead. Probably dead. You know, mourners. Okay, so this is in, looks like Iran. Keep going here. People are underground in Haifa as well. You know, they're in these tunnels.
Responding to the chat, Karma said, where did y'all find this stuff? So right now we're looking at Reuters. Reuters posted the satellite images, as well as we look at videos that are posted online on the ground, and we independently verify them, and we make sure that they match up to other videos and other angles, so that we can verify that these are actual. This is actual verified footage of what's going on right now.
Yep, correct. So actually, the majority of things we're going to see in real time are going to be on X. Most platforms have violence filters, and X and Telegram in particular do not. So you just also have a larger open source intelligence community on X than a lot of other platforms.
Iran uses Telegram like religiously. Like they use that platform to post, you know, state media. They post, you know, videos and on the ground footage. That's their main outlet right now. So a lot of these videos also come from Telegram.
Yeah, and so I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. Holy shit! Where's that?
This is the one I was talking about where they chose not to intercept. So this is an important thing to talk about. This is our first example of interceptor attrition where Israel elected to shoot a lesser interceptor at this particular missile instead of using the Iron Dome system. And this missile actually struck and killed 9 people. And so this is where we're starting to see this example, this attrition earlier than I anticipated. That means they're already picking and choosing their targets, and they're choosing to let people die, right? This is not like it's going to hit a parking garage. Like, these are clearly residential homes. These are also like not Palestinian, Jews or no, these are Orthodox. This is the part of the city that, generally supports Israel and its objectives. So this, and look at this, okay? This is after impact after Iran. This is Iran and Israel's Tel Aviv, okay? This is Tel Aviv. The question was why are they not doing so? The reasoning is because they don't have enough of the ammunition, which is called interceptors, to actually effectively intercept every Iranian missile. And this was the primary constraint that every open source analyst website, myself, was talking about, is that our stockpiles are just too depleted. I think Israel they must have understated the percentage of their stockpile that they used in the 12-day war. They're saying 50 to 60%. At this rate, it might be higher. It could be 70%, because I did not anticipate them doing this and choosing this early.
And Diana, in the comments, right? Like, the question why is, a question we've been asking, and Shane has been talking about it. And so if you guys are new to what we've been talking about, basically, like Shane just said, Israel and the US do not have as much interceptors as Iran has missiles. US and Israel have a lot of offensive equipment, but they don't have a lot of defensive equipment. They're not starting from a full baseline. They're already starting from a depleted amount of interceptors, which means that oftentimes one missile takes multiple interceptors to even, demolish in the sky, if any, right? Because sometimes it doesn't even work. We're seeing that millions of dollars are going to stopping nothing, right? These missiles that Iran is launching are actually ending up striking, no matter if they have interceptors in the sky. So that's what's going on.
Yeah, and these are all pictures of Israel. I haven't shown you. I think I might have shown you one of Iran,
Yeah.
but these are all Israel still, guys. Again, launch from Iran is intercepted. Okay, so again, this is Israel. Belt Shemesh, they're successfully getting all these hits. Missiles were launched toward Israel. They impacted in the sea. You've got, it looks like some people have passed here, and then we're gonna look at the satellite footage, because this is what I was particularly interested in. This is what I wanted to see, because I want to talk about. You've got more videos here for me as well. Yeah. Awesome.
Wait, Shane, I was going to ask you though a question. The U.S. have struck the Awaz oil pipeline in Iran, which produces 800,000 barrels a day. It's 20% of Iran's entire oil supply. I don't know if you've seen that. I can send that video to you. But what do you think about that?
They're part of, we talked about this the first night. And I said, they're going to go scorched earth. And for those of you without the historical context, it's what the Russians did every time they got invaded. They burned everything behind them so that the invading army starved to death, and they couldn't win because they're doing the same thing except on a global scale. I mean, we're seeing them basically cripple the Middle Eastern oil infrastructure. This will inevitably lead to a oil crisis, an energy crisis. Think about this. The rest of the world has moved away from Russian oil. Europe pivoted hard to the Middle East. This is causing massive panic in Europe because they've moved away from, Russian oil. And it's interesting because, as I sit here and think, well, who else can sell? And the answer is the United States. Who else is the largest producer of oil and natural gas? It's going to be horrible for India. India relies heavily on Iran for oil. China as well. China buys 70, I want to say it's like, we said what, 80 plus 70 to 80% of Iran's oil exports go to China. So we have to look at it on a wider scale as well. So now they're directly striking this here. I mean, it seems like they're creating a artificial energy crisis. By closing in Iran, I saw reports, a couple, stating that they have officially closed the strait. So it's been functionally closed for, the last day and a half. But Iranian officials,
Qatar,
at least some
Qatar halted LNG production as well. Major gas.
A couple platforms have been struck. These countries, they're not just, they're hitting hotels, they're hitting everything. There's nothing that they haven't hit. It's like I said, scorched earth. And I do firmly believe that if they had not killed Khamenei, I don't think we would be here. I think that this was their ultimate retaliatory action. There was a contingency, and that contingency was, if they kill me, burn it all. And so what this does, though, with the oil is it leaves, one, it puts pressure on China. I think that they're meeting this month, Xi Jinping and Trump. This could be an attempt to put leverage on China to give them rare earths, because China is extremely dependent on imports for their oil. It could be just a side effect of it. I don't like to attribute too much intelligence to them when they do something, because I don't always think they're thinking about all the reasons. Of course, the secondary effects are absolutely going to be a Western energy crisis. Like these, we just countries, and so maybe this is a push to get the world like hooked on American oil, to increase, revenue coming into the country, or is it something else? It's really hard for me to say, but you're absolutely correct in the assertion that that's going to have a huge impact on the global oil market. And this is going to, it seems like no matter what at this point, the global energy infrastructure is highly damaged. And the output, regardless of if the war stops, is going to be reduced no matter what, right? Like that is a clear result of that case. So, that I would say that is how I would answer that question. Is it could be strategic, it could be not, but regardless, the outcome is that it will trigger a global energy crisis.
And Trump is saying this is going to go on for the next 2 to 4 weeks. He's also, we're now up to 6 confirmed U.S. casualties, 6 confirmed U.S. casualties as of 30 minutes ago.
So an important thing to note there as well, is Iran has claimed over 500 U.S. personnel killed. So, of course, Iran's going to inflate those numbers, but of course, the United States is going to underreport their numbers. So I would say that 10% of whatever the Iranian report is likely, which means that we could be looking at 50 personnel, either wounded or killed. But I would say that number would be more realistic. It could be 5%, but whatever they're reporting is certainly low. Sherrod, you were talking to me earlier. I mean, and you can speak on a little bit about like these strikes, and you've been seeing a lot of these strikes. I mean, I think, we both kind of agreed that there's no way people aren't dying. And there's a picture of the U.S. base actually in here. So this is Khamenei's compound where he was killed. We have satellite imagery here. We also have, aircraft shelters and stuff across Iran.
And why'd they be striking, these areas? I'm hearing reports that these areas, these hotels, have high up U.S. personnel in them, and that's why they're striking them. And
yes, I can confirm at least one. Well, there's multiple outlets where 2 U.S. command personnel in Bahrain, right next to the Fifth Fleet, where there's reporting. And so here we go. This is the biggest development, in my opinion, at this time. It's the biggest embarrassment the United States has ever experienced, and it's the fact that this is the seat of United States power projection in the Red Sea, in the Gulf region. This is our fleet headquarters. They reported that only one warehouse was hit, but we're also seeing that a radar was also hit. And the reporting was 2 strikes from most sources. We only saw the warehouse that they've reported, but we also did see that it's highly likely that we saw a strike that hit a radar facility as well, which means that this is, and I mean, the yield of these missiles, this is a big ass building, guys. Like, this is a big ass building. And Bahrain in particular it has also just seen a ton. We have, vessels, they've been hitting the Iranian Navy. They're trying to stop them from mining the Strait of Hormuz. They're also very concerned, of course, about the Iranian capacity to use fast attack boats and skimming ballistic anti-ship missiles, things like that as well. So we got lots of bases here, but this is what you're seeing as well. Another of his residents. So it could be, now that we're hearing that too, Sherrod, as I think about this, it really could be that the reason they did attack is because maybe they got confirmation that Khamenei had left the bunker. Because I think they, again, like this regime, it makes a lot of sense. They hedge their bet on one thing. They just go all in, right? They said, we're going to decapitate him and the regime's going to collapse. And it didn't happen. And that's what we're seeing now. I wanted to share this with you. I don't know if you've seen this, but we're starting, like you said earlier today, they're not using their best weapons yet. Well, they are starting to use their best weapons. And these missiles are not interceptable. These are the hypersonic missiles, and the interceptors required are from the THAAD, the THAAD systems, the highest tech on which we are critically low of interceptors. And even the quickest rush orders are seeing 1 year outlook. So we wouldn't even have replacements for a year. To actually replace this stockpile, we'd be looking at over a decade. So even the emergency orders are not replaceable. But I want you guys just to look at this missile. And this is what they're firing. Yes, the dome is reliant on radars as well.
Take a look at that.
What are you going to do to that? What are you going to do to that? Europe was freaking out. You know why? Because Russia moved a couple of their hypersonic missiles to Belarus, and everyone freaked out. Iran's got, at minimum, dozens of these, like a couple dozen. And you know exactly how we know that? Because you can actually see what it looks like when they launch a bunch of these. And so we'll look at this here too. This is on coming into Iran's alleged recent hypersonic missile barrage towards Israel. Okay, so this is.
Saw that. I don't think anyone can comprehend how fast that is.
It's faster than the sound. It's faster than the speed of sound. So we can confirm, like, these things are going on. So we don't know. I want to highlight that this could be but they do have certain capabilities, but not in a large number. They're not going to have a ton of these, but they do absolutely have the Fatah 2 hypersonic missile. So when you see comments like this, they don't have hypersonic missiles. No, they fucking do. Like, they've got a missile program. So, there's going to be a lot of things like that. And so I have a video too, and we have to talk about this as well. This is the school strike where Israeli bombs killed over 100 girls aged 7 to 12 in Iran. And so we'll watch a little bit of this.
Our tax dollars going to killing over 150 little girls in Iran. It's great. It's good.
So, I mean, that's the truth, folks. That's what, I always say that's what freedom looks like. So, if we're, if we're going to be, honest with ourselves, this is, but I mean, Israel has killed over 50% of the people Israel has killed in Gaza are women and children. It's 56% are women and children that have been killed in Gaza. So, we know Israel loves to kill children. That's like a fact. That's a documented fact. So, but, I want to talk about, before we kind of continue, I want to go through comprehensively and list out all of the things, all of the sites that have been hit. But before we kind of go forward, Sherrod, what's your take here on, how would you say the actual reporting response has been, outside, obviously, of the work that we've done? Are you seeing the scope fully represented in other outlets that you've been looking at, or how are you feeling about the quality of coverage in the United States?
Look, I don't think the quality of coverage right now in the United States is adequate at all. I think that it's very minimal, the amount of information we're getting, and I honestly think part of it can be attributed to the fact that a lot of these mainstream sources need multiple verification, and they get a lot of their information from the White House and from this Trump administration, and so it's hard to verify the exact numbers when they're not even getting proper information. And we're probably getting more information than they're reporting right now, 100%. A lot of these videos that we're seeing, I have not seen them on mainstream reporting or much of reporting at all. And I think right now my question is, well, not my question, but more I'm waiting to see what happens, is if Congress, especially having tons of APAC money, will actually vote on a war powers resolution, because lawmakers are preparing a vote on a war powers resolution to require congressional approval for continued military action against Iran. And if we see the Democratic Party voting for continued military action against Iran, we're fucked. Like, it's fucked. And we know that's the case. We are already aware that these people are funded by Israel. We're going to see Democrats vote for continued military action in Iran. However, it's going to have a lot of backlash, and we're not going to, frankly, trust this country more than we already distrust this country.
Yeah. Yep. Correct. I mean, and look who owns them, right? I mean, and Israel actually can't win this war by itself. I don't believe that Israel could win an open conflict with Iran, because Iran has not been using all of its military resources to attack and genocide multiple populations from Syria to Lebanon to Gaza and Palestine, of course. I mean, they've dropped, they have the stockpiles to continue offensively. The limitation is defensively. If we choose to deplete our stockpiles, we lose to a point, we start losing vessels. I just don't see a world where we continue this indefinitely. They can't fight for 4 weeks. It's not possible. And the lines coming out of the White House are it's fake. I mean, it's, and even my fiance told me this, but her TikTok feed, they're using TikTok to push propaganda, literally because in her For You page, there's a video of a country like guy saying, "Oh, we're America and put a boot in their ass." Like, you know, she's like, that's not my feed, right? And then she got rid of it, said not interested, and swiped up again, and it was there. So we're already seeing them attempt to mitigate the severity and actually push this war. But like, you know, I mean, this post is like really good. I want to as well, because I think it really illustrates kind of as well what you were just talking about. And then if you want,
Shane and I are committed to real, verified, independent reporting that you're not going to get anywhere else. You're not going to get it anywhere else right now. Right now, we're seeing the merger between, you know, Paramount and Warner Brothers. We're seeing they you know, the Ellisons are owning the media. They're owning TikTok. Oracle is owning a lot of the media space right now, and we're not getting the information that we need right now. And the only place that you can get it is independent journalism. And what me and Shane are committed to doing is making sure that you have all that information, that we're compiling those resources, that data that you're not going to see anywhere else.
Yep. Because look, anyone who's reporting on American media in coverage of this conflict, you really just should stop watching them, because they're doing you a disservice. You know, like this is one of the most important moments in global history. This is like the collapse of American hegemony. This is the extinction burst, and people are, you know, like you're either with it or you're not, you know. And like me and Sherrod are both young. Okay. He's younger than me. He's 19. He's so impressed with this guy. But, you know, it's our future, guys. Like, it belongs to us. So everyone else has tried. Give us a chance, because they've had their shot. And we're clearly, it's not sufficient. We're telling you that it's not sufficient to guarantee our future. So we have to do it ourselves. And that's a tragedy. And it's really disappointing that young people like Sherrod and myself have to do this to fight for our democracy. We were told that this world would be stewarded for us so we could go and have our own future. And very clearly, not only that is not true, but now we have to fight for this. So we're going to do that. But, you know, I'm imploring you guys to really evaluate who you're supporting. Do you want to support the people who are going to have to live through the future in terms of reporting, or do you want to support the people who've already made their money, are sitting on their laurels and making more money, and, you know, they don't care, they're going to use that money to go where they need to go, no matter the outcome, right? Like, that's really what I need you guys to consider here, because there's only 122 people here. Now it's 122 people that are, I'm so grateful you're here. But like, you know, this information, like Sherrod said, is incredibly valuable. And, you know, there's people who are reporting on a quarter of this and actually giving you extremely misleading information that claim independent journalism. And that's a huge problem and something we're committed to changing. So I'm glad you said that, and I wanted to reiterate that as well. But this video is the one you sent me, Sherrod, as well, where they're talking about the $50,000 missile that effortlessly flies by $60 million of Israeli.
It's crazy.
You know, I mean, there's a reason there's no people here, is because there's a lot of big names that go live and are talking about the same thing. You know, that's just why people prefer personalities to, you know, verifiable information. Unfortunately, like, you know, people like who they like and they want to watch them, regardless of the quality of their content. So hopefully, if we can set a standard, at least those people will change how they report at the very least, because, you know, a lot of people are, you know, committed to who they like. They like who they like. They like their voice, their face. You know, cults of personality exist everywhere. You know,
hey, if you want more people here, spread the word. We're doing the work.
Yes, share this link. If you want more people here, share the link. If you think this is valuable, share the link. Like,
and we're doing the work for all of you. Like, you're here, you're watching, you're staying active, and you're getting the information. And, you know, you're a part of the Firebrand project, of Banner and Backbone, of Centered America. You know, we are all together in this, getting this information, learning at the same time, and teaching each other something. And that's what's important about independent journalism. It's not where they're just feeding the headlines.
Yeah, absolutely. We're committed. I mean, and we're going to keep doing that. Especially working together, we're going to be able to do a better job and do more. So, let's watch this video, and then I want to go through, and I have a list of all of the locations that have been struck, and we'll kind of go through and we'll talk about what we've seen thus far. Okay, what the fuck was the point? What are you doing? Dude, that's like me. It's like me when I'm like drunk trying to play video games, like use a Call of Duty or whatever. Like, oh, dude, I just gotta snipe that guy or whatever. Running around, like it's like, dude, what the hell is going on with this? Like, again, it's like these are supposed to be the most high tech weapon systems in the world, and clearly they underestimated the Iranian missile program.
I have one more video, if that's okay, if you can show.
Send it
I'm sending it in the chat. It's going to be the most recent one in the chat. This one I watched several times because I wanted to see, and I verified it. I wanted to see how it looks. This is hitting Jerusalem with Israeli interceptors in the sky. Watch this.
All right. All right. There's your incoming.
If that tells you anything about these interceptors and their capability.
I mean, like, if we count, I'm just curious if we count because, so let's see. So there was what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 interceptors there. Yeah.
Not only that, but when they intercept a missile successfully, debris falls. Like, it's gonna fall in the area. Like, you're still gonna get impacted.
That's what killed people in the UAE. Several were killed. I think one at least confirmed in the UAE was killed by debris. It's a really good point. Is even if you intercept, those are big ass missiles, guys. So like a giant chunk of metal, flaming, burning metal, potentially an explosive charge in there somewhere, is going to fall to the ground and it's going to hit something, right? Like they're intercepting them over the cities. There's 2 more. Yes, way. Thanks. Thank you, BB. Appreciate you, BB. Aren't you so glad you've been fucking bombing Palestine? Aren't you so happy?
Also is insane.
Huh?
The sound in
This
the
next
video.
part?
Like,
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you're able to hear the sound because I can't hear it on my end. But
oh, is it not? Do I not have my audio on here?
Yeah, I don't think you have the audio
on.
It's insanity.
Yeah.
Like,
so hold on. Let me actually fix that because that's a good point here. And I'm going to remove this and I'm going to do it again differently. Yeah. So, I mean, if you could say, I mean, I would say where do you place the momentum right now in terms of what side has more momentum? Where would you, who would you say is kind of having the most momentum at this moment in time?
Honestly, I think it comes down to, oh, I can hear myself. I can hear myself. There I go. Let's see. Yeah, I still hear myself. Wonder what happened.
While he's doing that, I'll just say I'll play this for a second. You can hear it now, right?
Oh my God! Whoa! Whoa! Holy shit! Oh my God! Yo! No way! No way! No way! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh, holy fuck! Oh my God!
Yeah.
On there, he's got his fucking phone up. Look at our dome. I mean, fuck's sake, dude. Like,
Insane.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Another one here.
Oh my God! Oh my God! That's retarded! It actually hit right here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it did. Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did. Aren't you so happy that fucking Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump decided to put you all in harm's way? You know, maybe it's a dick move, but I don't really feel a lot of sympathy for these people. I don't feel sympathy for these people because they've sat by and watched their government genocide. Like, if anything, this is fucking karma. This is what it's like to live in fear every day of being bombed because you know, this is what you pay taxes to, right? Like, this is the same reason I don't have fucking empathy for what America is going through. Why I want America to get hit hard, because this is what this country is allowing to happen. It's a choice to not fix it. It's a choice to not deal with your autocratic government. People all around the world deal with autocracy in different ways. I have zero sympathy for Israel.
Answer to your question. Like, I think that Iran has more momentum compared to what we were told about Israel and the US's capability. And so if we're talking about who has the most momentum, now I have to say Iran, because looking at these missiles and how the interceptors are not even capable of preventing the strikes, Iran's kicking ass. I mean, and honestly, like, Tel Aviv, it's burning up. Like, I saw so many missiles in Tel Aviv strike and hit from Iran. And not kicking ass in like a woohoo kicking ass. It's more like they are doing the most damage compared to what we thought. And I think Iran. It's just devastating that we even got into this war in the first place, when we know from the Pentagon that Iran said they would not attack. This is confirmed. They would not attack unless Israel attacked first. What's going on?
Yep.
Something going on?
Yep. And, I will say this. I mean, and if it's okay with Sherrod, we'll go an hour and 15 because there's some more things I'd like to cover. And if that's okay with you guys, I hope you can stay a little extra, but I just want to make sure you get everything. If America gets hard, can you imagine the effects? I mean, it's going, we are like, but like, how else are people going to learn? Because I've been sitting here for months. I've been sitting here since before 2016, fucking imploring people to not throw away my fucking future. And they did it anyway. Enough people didn't do anything. And now I don't really know what my future looks like. I just, I hate to say it, but I've lost a lot of empathy for people because a lot of these people are not going to have to live through all of the effects of what they're doing. And I do. And there's no other way I feel like I deserve to feel this way. And I don't really feel bad about it. Like, I expect people to take action. And if they don't, whatever, but like people long before I was born or Sherrod was born sold us down the river. Our future was sold down the river for fucking money and oil. And that's a fact. That's a reality. And if people can't understand just how really fucked up that is to do to an entire generation, it's really sad to me. So, but I think I want to talk a little bit about what's been hit. So like obviously the first thing that is most significant is the U.S. Fifth Fleet HQ in Jufair. So it was targeted by Iranian missiles and drones, and we do have that satellite footage. So we've confirmed that serious major damage. This is not like a single missile. It did affect we confirmed ground imagery shows structural damage to naval support and radar facilities. Okay, so they not only hit some form of support, but they did actually hit radar facilities, which will affect the operational capacity to target and locate inbound tracks towards that area, right? So that is the eyes of a Patriot system or a THAAD system. It works in conjunction with a radar. So like they didn't hit a warehouse. Fox reported that they hit a warehouse. That is what Fox reported. That is not the case at all. In fact, immediately after that came out, Fox changed the narratives as well. So in Bahrain, this is all in Bahrain, by the way. Crown Plaza, Manama Hotel. It was impact on a property used for U.S. Defense Department meetings. Okay. The casualties reporting 2 U.S. Defense DOD personnel injured, not yet reflected in the public DOT casual releases. Air reviews, a breaker high rise as well. A Shahid drone hit upper floors, fire and debris cascaded into the surrounding streets. We have several casualties in Bahrainian civilians that are wounded, plus significant property damage. And the Salman industrial area, the port adjacent zone, hit by falling missile debris and secondary fires following interception. 1 Bangladeshi worker was killed and 2 were injured. So Bahrain has been again, where did they strike? Like this is just, it's pinpoint. They hit where U.S. officers are having meetings. This is not an Iran that is clueless and weak and decapitated. This is an Iran that is focused and pursuing specific military objectives in line with a larger operational plan. And this is in the first wave. So in terms of civilian in the UAE, Al Dhafra Air Base, which is New Abu Dhabi, was targeted with ballistic missiles used by U.S. and French contingents. Damage and casualties confirmed detonations and intercepts in vicinity. Nothing has been publicly announced by the United States. Instead, and confirmed in terms of fatalities, some infrastructure damage, which is consistent with near misses or debris itself. So civilians, Fairmont Dubai Hotel, Sheikh Zayed Road. There was a drone impact on the upper floors of a flagship luxury property, and at least four were injured in the hotel. The Burj Al Khalifa was almost hit. You can find that video of the missile streaking right by. Lucky it's a skinny building. And as well in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, Zayed Port and Jebel Ali Port, you have multiple drone and missile debris impacts in residential commercial areas. Port facilities used by U.S. and European naval forces reported damage or temporarily shut. The UAE has 3 killed, 58 injured nationwide since the beginning of strikes. Kuwait is a significant one here. Ali Al Salem Air Base was struck by ballistic missiles, seeing runway cratering, which has been confirmed by the Critical Threats Project and the Institute for the Study of War, as well as imagery. 3 Kuwaiti Armed Forces personnel were wounded by shrapnel, indicating that these detonations were very close. But this is where it's just nuts. In Kuwait, friendly fire shot down 3 F-15E Strike Eagles. That's 3 aircraft that the United States has now lost in this operation. And I have yet to firmly confirm, but there are multiple sources reporting that a 4th has been shot down as well. If that's true, that's like, I can't think of a single operation in United States history that has seen this many aircraft lost. And this is all the friendly fire. which demonstrates that the United States isn't even communicating with the nations in the Gulf. They are actively just flying planes through. This should never happen. If you have open channels, they should know, hey, I've got an F-15 coming in through this region. Make sure you don't fire on the airspace, which means they're just not communicating, because a lot of these places firmly told the United States not to do this. They didn't want to help. And the US is clearly not even able to really communicate. And that's the 1 plus the 3. You know, I don't know exactly where the other strike was or what took that plane down. You know, however, so 4 aircraft, 3 confirmed, potentially 4, and not a single Iranian missile was the cause as of right now, which is crazy. You also have the Kuwaiti International Airport that was struck on worker airside areas, and as well, several workers were wounded. Nobody was killed. In Qatar, Al Udeid, this is our largest airbase in the region. Other than the 5th Fleet headquarters, I would say this is our other seat of power. They targeted Al Udeid with ballistic missiles. At least 1 impacted a clinic compound on the base. So if there was any wounded soldiers there, they are likely killed in that clinic. So that's something as well to consider. Of course, the United States CENTCOM has been very slow to confirm any casualties. And I doubt that we will see full figures until they've been able to wrap up the operation, at least in some capacity, because if, you know, the numbers come back that we've lost hundreds of troops or even, you know, scores of troops, that is, they're going to rapidly see, you know, domestic instability. I mean, this really is part of, you know, to not go into the United States too much. This is, you know, crazy. You know, Sherrod, can you follow up on a carrier was struck? Can you verify? Because I've been talking about that happening. It's a distinct possibility, but I have not seen that. But also, if it happened recently, which it very well could have, because these strikes, these missiles are in the
carrier strike group,
an aircraft carrier.
Aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any struck.
Yeah. Okay.
I've seen U.S. oil.
I think they're certainly going. Yes, they're certainly going to try at some point, because it, you know, Saudi Arabia. Okay, sorry, I got a couple more here. Al Udeid, you know, open sources describe light damage, no deaths, consistent with either sheltering or partial interception. So we'll see. But this is not the last barrage that's going to be sent at these bases. And every interception or every missed interception limits their ability to intercept these missiles. So Saudi Arabia as well, U.S. linked facilities were included in the target as well. Likely targets include air and support sites tied to CENTCOM in central areas. But actually more significant here is in Riyadh and urban centers, where you're seeing all these intercepts over the city, causing things to fall just down into the streets, potentially killing civilians. Luckily, no one has been killed there as well. Jordan, which was one of the major staging areas we were seeing, has been targeted with missiles, which is a major host nation as well. No confirmed casualties at this point, limited damage, which looks like you might have had a higher rate of interceptions there. So U.S. in general, intercepting better than Israel, but they're still taking, the fact of the matter is we should have no impacts. The type of world that the type of America that they've been pitching to us, this should never happen. So Jordan is a fairly militarized country as well. They have a fairly strong, one of the stronger standing militaries in the Middle East and in the Gulf.
I do have some reports that
yes,
Iran has claimed that they did strike the USS Abraham Lincoln, was struck by 4 missiles and then withdrew or moved away, the USS Abraham Lincoln. So I have some of the articles right here, but it's saying that they did
Yeah. Who's reporting?
I have
Who's reporting right now?
Kurdistan24.net, TASS, NDTV.
Okay. I will say TASS is Russian state media, but I would expect them to report first. Here's the thing. It's actually right now, if you're looking at a lot of
They're
these
saying
Iranian
they did it.
sources, Iranian. Right. Yeah. So, but like what I'm saying is like these like Russian and Iranian are going to post these things first, right? Actually, I think we're more likely to see credible footage from these kind of opposition. Yeah, but again, we have to be careful. The other thing is geolocation. But I've been saying that there is no better target than the USS Abraham Lincoln. The fact that they put that there, and if that's the case, I've been expecting this. I said before, there's probably a 30-40% chance
that missiles didn't come close and that the U.S. is basically rubbishing that Iran struck the USS Abraham Lincoln. But Iran is saying that they did. Russian state media is saying that they did. But Times of India did actually report it.
Times of India is not terrible. To be honest with you, I don't mind Times of India. Times of Israel. Okay, so the evidence currently supports the U.S. version, which is that the carrier was not hit. They said 4 hit the missiles. They did. State media and line outlets have amplified the narrative. CENTCOM has explicitly called the lie, didn't even come close to the Lincoln, and the carrier continues to launch aircraft. So I think probably one of the best ways to determine this is if you see sorties coming off of the Lincoln or not. Open source intelligence and people who track flight data, they'll probably be able to verify within several hours whether or not we are seeing sorties generated from the Lincoln. So I would say watch for that.
But it's being talked about, which means it's possible.
So it's possible, but I'm also seeing that it's likely that these are fake videos. Yeah. It would make sense. And it just like the U.S. said that, we destroyed their nuclear program. This is the same thing, right? Like they didn't, but they say it. So, in this case, but I don't think for a second that they won't try. And the fact that they made this statement means that they probably intend to do it, even if they don't do it now. I would wait, and I've gamed this out for myself because I think that if I was Iran, I already have a huge distinct advantage. Number one is I'm defending. I'm the defender. So also, I just want to point out that anything above the ground that Israel and the United States has bombed, Iran planned for them to bomb that. They would have expected this. The capacity to truly retaliate was they had 5 weeks because the US wasn't confident. Iran had 5 weeks. That's a lot of time, in top of the fact that they've been doing this for decades. So if my connection is struggling here, I will close a couple tabs and hopefully that makes it better for you guys.
I see.
But so let's go. Oman has been hit. No reports on the actual base itself that U.S. bases were hit. However, the port of Duqm, we saw 2 drones strike infrastructure and 1 was wounded. Iraq as well, Erbil. This saw strikes on U.S. positions, missiles and drones impacting in the vicinity of the airport. Public reporting emphasizes infrastructure and air operations disruption, no consolidated facts. So Erbil was in fact damaged, and potentially there were casualties as well. In terms of civilian as well, Erbil City and the environs around it experienced explosions, flight cancellations, and casualty data is still unverifiable at this time. I would say, and this is kind of the last thing I want to talk about after we go through all of these bases that were hit here. So Israel as well, Tel Aviv has been hit, strike on residential commercial blocks. 1 has been killed, 22 were injured in Tel Aviv. You had 9 killed in Beit Shemesh. The synagogue and apartment buildings were struck in a salvo. 9 were killed, 49 were injured. and these are this is already on top of the 12 that were killed since the start of this conflict. So in general, I mean, what Iran has executed is a geographically wide but tactically bounded strike pattern, U.S. bases plus curated set of economically symbolic civilian sites, hotels, towers, ports, airports, dense urban centers. The targets are U.S. forward bases, Gulf regimes that host them, and Israeli population centers. Casualties skew towards civilians and migrant workers, not U.S. personnel. I would add, we don't know that because we're not going to find out how many U.S. personnel were killed in the near future. They're going to hide that data as long as possible and release it out piecemeal, probably in 1 or 2 dead here, 1 or 2 dead here, instead of giving us the total numbers. How are they doing this? It's a mix of ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and the Shahed family drones against hard military sites and soft civilian as well. These are distributed well across the region. The biggest thing we're seeing here, and I'd say, like, I want to say this, and I'll let you kind of give your last minute here as well, Sherrod, as we wrap this up. But, last notes here before, the Hormuz is effectively closed. I started seeing reporting before this that Iran has officially said they've closed the Strait of Hormuz as well. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. So if that is the case, there's a 5 to 10 day window here from March 5th to the 10th, at which point they need to open the strait, or things are going to happen very quickly and very dramatically to the global energy supply. So, here's what I have for you. Let me give you guys what I think, what I foresee, and what I think is happening. So the first thing is, I think that Iran has successfully damaged enough U.S. military infrastructure in the region to slow the United States sortie rate, to impede their operational command and control, and to force U.S. to adapt and change its operational strategy. The United States asked the U.K. for permission to use its air bases to strike Iran. They did this because we have cratering. We have examples of strikes on U.S. bases. This suggests that, one, maybe they're not comfortable actually having those assets on the ground. Are they comfortable having that jet on a runway when Iran has been getting missiles through? Probably not. It costs them money and time to move these assets around. The other thing is, we've seen the activation of the Houthis, and we've seen the activation of Hezbollah, which means that they are now, which I predicted yesterday, the day before, is now we're going to see in the second phase the proxies coming into play. Particularly Hezbollah opening up another front from Lebanon against Israel puts Israel in a worse position. Israel as well is experiencing, in my opinion, interceptor attrition much more quickly than the United States, which is anticipated. Israel is much closer, and Iran is going to be able to hit Israel harder, faster. But I think they've severely downplayed their interceptor capabilities, and I think this just shouldn't be happening. If they even had as many interceptors as they said they did, they shouldn't be experiencing attrition at this point. I think that the proxies, these proxies are also supplied with missiles, like Hezbollah and the Houthis have missiles. Like, the Houthis launch ballistic missiles at tankers. They started doing it. Again, they activated after this happened, right? So you're seeing the proxies come into play. I think that the third phase is going to look something along the lines of the interceptor attrition, like the videos that you've shared with us, Sherrod, as well, is like 12 plus interceptors flying past. We said 16, right? And they did hit a base in Cyprus. They hit a French base, which is going to force Europe to do something. And that, if anything, might have been a miscalculation on Iran's part. I would say that's the biggest miscalculation on Iran's part, was to hit European bases, because especially with the Strait of Hormuz, Europe is inevitably going to panic and they're going to side with the United States and Israel because they are going to face an energy crisis. Again, is this a result? I think this is a result. Actually, this is probably one of the only mistakes I think Iran has made, which is hitting those European bases, because these European countries pulled their troops out from American bases. They did all these things. So to actually hit that base, it's going to draw. And now the UK is willing, which they had said they were not willing, to let the United States use these bases to strike Iran. And the first thing is going to be, you can use our infrastructure, but I would be even concerned if I'm Europe of doing that. Like, you're making your installations a bigger target. So I think we do see an attack on the USS Abraham Lincoln. I think that is either the coup de grace or the first major escalation, depending on how successful it is. We are potentially looking at the biggest military defeat in American history. I mean, if you lose that carrier, the campaign's over. It's over. Doesn't matter. Like, if the carrier gets hit, it's over. They need to stop everything they're doing, and hopefully it's not sinking. Hopefully we haven't lost thousands of sailors. But at the very least, they need to shift posture and get that thing out, which is going to change up the entire operation from one of assault to one of, we need to get this aircraft carrier the hell out of here, or we're going to lose the most symbolic projective, like, symbol of American projection of power. And if I'm Iran, that is my priority. The best way to do that, activate the Houthis and launch multiple missile barrages from proxies and Iran simultaneously. You're going to use many, many Shaheds. You're going to saturate the airspace, and you're going to sink the Lincoln. That would be my primary operational objective. And now they said it, which means they probably want to back it up. They might not do it. It might not be sunk right now, but it very well could be sunk in the near future. So, I'm going to be sharing things with Sherrod in my independent analytical capacity, working with Senator America. So you're going to be able to get a lot more information as well from the Senator America update that we're collaborating on later today. But and of course, we're on this pretty much hour by hour. So we'll let you know what we find. And Sherrod, what do you feel? What are you feeling right now? Do you agree with what I kind of am laying out? Do you think that you disagree? What kind of?
I think you wrapped it up honestly perfectly. I agree with you. This shouldn't be happening right now. This should not be happening right now as we speak. People are under threat of losing their lives in the Middle East, or are actively losing their lives in the Middle East. Missiles are going off right now as we speak. In fact, 8 minutes ago, Israel said that Iran's waves are coming in. It's constant, nonstop. Yep. And our government and our tax dollars are funding it. Our country is funding it. In fact, Mike Johnson just said, and this is some domestic news, Mike Johnson just said about 20 minutes ago, he said Israel was going to do this whether the U.S. joined in or not, and President Donald Trump joined in last minute, basically. It's a bunch of bullshit. And we are actively funding it, and we need to be angry at what's going on right now. But we also can only do what we can to report, make sure people get the word out. Me and Shane are, of course, like we said earlier, committed to making sure that you get this information, that you're able to share this information, and that the people of this country who don't have the proper information, who are not informed, can get that information. So we appreciate you all for joining in.
Yeah, no, for sure. And Sherrod, thank you for joining me for this report. Guys, make sure you go and support Sherrod and his work and our work that we're going to be putting out together at Senator America. So I'm super proud to be working with Senator America, and I look forward to continuing to provide my analysis and my reporting to Senator America as well. So I'm happy to be operating independently in that capacity, so I can support my other friends, as well as people I like and trust to get the news out there. So make sure you scan this QR code, go and subscribe to Centered America if you have not, because that's where you'll also be getting those newsletters that we are collaborating on, and that access to that analysis as well. So please go do that. Guys, if you want to support me and my work, both of us have not had a lot of sleep recently. So, if you can do us the small favor of subscribing, at least if you're not subscribed, but if you can upgrade to a paid subscription, please do that. If you don't currently have the funds, well, ask yourself, out of all these paid subs, who's giving me the most return on my money? And we would like to pitch you the opportunity to see if an investment in us is worth that for you. So if you can do that, please support us financially. That's the best way to make sure we can continue to do this. With that said, there's a QR code here on the screen for me as well. You can scan that. It's going to take you to my link tree where I have all of my social media up on there. So you can go and find all of my social media from the TikTok, as well as make donations through my Buy Me a Coffee, which is linked here. So if you are already subscribed, but you can financially contribute a little bit more or to a donation, that's one of the great ways to do that as well. But guys, thank you so much for joining me today for this special report in Firebrand report. Thank you, Sherrod, for all of the work that you've done. And we will definitely be continuing to bring you this information on Centered America. You will get notes from me here on my personal platform, the Firebrand Project. And also as well, I'm working with Banner and Backbone. So if you're over there, you're going to be getting some of my work as well. So, this is going to continue. And I don't think we've seen the worst of it. I think this is going to be historically bad for the United States. And my only hope is that the innocent service people, the service members who were told that they were going to do whatever they were going to do, that those people do not die needlessly. But that's really the decision of the regime and the billionaires that are puppeting the United States for their own purposes. So, that's not something, unfortunately, Congress has basically ceded their power to the executive branch. They have, like you said, an opportunity to make a wartime powers resolution, take that away from Trump. But, if Israel is really going to lose, how much AIPAC lobby is going to be, they kind of need the United States. So I actually would factor it in as less than likely. But I will point out this: if that happens, the Trump regime has defied every single aspect of the Constitution. I would have to argue that the United States Constitution, or the United States itself, ceases to exist if Congress cedes its power to declare war to the executive branch. That is one of the single most important rights to belong to the people in Congress, is our ability to decide whether or not we want to go to war, whether we want to spend the lives of our sons and daughters and have them drown or bleed to death on foreign soil.
The problem is that even with Congress's ability to declare war and authorize war, the president basically can declare war himself, because he can deploy troops for up to 60 days with the War Powers Resolution of 1973, as well as conduct strikes, limited strikes. And he doesn't even have to notify Congress within the first 48 hours. He has 48 hours to notify Congress,
which is stupid.
Yeah.
Which is so freaking stupid. Like, who made that shit up? The only people who pass those laws are people who don't want to be accountable. These are the laws. You're starting to see all these tools they're using. The United States has built in tools to allow
it used to be longer than 60 days. That was actually their way of making it shorter. And the problem is that the American people should be the ones that decide who goes to war and who we are striking, the foreign countries we are striking. And that decision comes from who we vote for, the president that we put into power. And so if we are putting the president in power, we are deciding that we trust them with the ability to strike a foreign country. And sadly, President Donald Trump was elected as president in 2024, and these people entrusted him with this power. And so it's like we need a law that protects us from ourselves. If we can't choose the proper president that can be entrusted with the power to strike a foreign country, then we can't even trust ourselves. So that's what I'll say on that.
I think that's very succinct. Like, you know, you have to build systems to account for the failings of our tendency as people to make mistakes. Your systems need to account for the fact that they're human systems and that humans are the ones operating within those bounds, and that humans will be greedy. Humans will kill other humans if it makes them feel good. Humans will rape kids if it makes them feel powerful. Humans will bomb schools if they feel like they can get away with it. You know, that's just how it is. So, and to like one last question, you know, aren't we we are in a constitutional crisis. What I'm asserting is that if Congress abdicates all of its power, including the ability to regulate war, then we no longer have a constitution, because every single check and balance has been removed.
Well, think about this.
The people of America
haven't declared war since the 1940s. We haven't declared war since the 1940s. We didn't declare war in Iraq. They just authorized it. So it's like he is still allowed to strike, and he's still allowed to he's still allowed to be, you know, if you send troops for 60 days into a foreign country, is that not declaring war on a foreign country? Is that not, yeah, we're going to war, there's troops in like, it's mind-boggling how the War Powers Resolution Act does not have more, I don't know, like a better wording. I don't know, better ground.
I mean, 60 days of war is 60 days of profit for defense companies, right? So, you know, it doesn't even matter. They could cycle in and out, you know, they could, oh, we're not going, and then we're going to start again.
So it's a full 90 days,
you know, so yeah, that's too long. So, you know, well, this is going to end poorly, guys. You know, we're already seeing it end poorly, and it sucks to watch this happen. It's very disappointing. And it's even more disappointing for the people of Iran who were promised freedom, and they were delivered the death of hundreds of children. And I'm sure thousands more have been killed in these indiscriminate strikes for sure. So I think that we will be giving you guys the truth. We'll be giving you guys all the angles as things continue. And, you know, we'll keep doing this as long as necessary. But regardless, what happens after this changes. Like the world has changed foundationally. Geopolitics has changed foundationally, and everything is going to rapidly change. In geopolitics, this is going to be, I don't even know. I'm kind of scared to think about what this means. And I haven't even looked at what's happening in Africa. Mind you, Pakistan and Afghanistan are still at war, as far as I'm aware. You know, there's a lot happening. And so this is a huge issue. And you know, it's unfortunately, I don't really know what else to say other than it's a tragedy that they did this. It makes the United States vulnerable to attack. It makes our regional bases vulnerable to attack. It puts Americans in acute danger. It stops our ability to defend Taiwan, regardless of what happened. This has taken us from being able to effectively deter China around Taiwan and made that no longer possible. The regional allies we have, if you can even call them that, are not sufficiently prepared to deter China. So, you know, China won the second the U.S. launched those missile barrages back. So, you know, that's the regardless of the outcome, I can tell you that the United States has sacrificed its position as global hegemon. That I can tell you for certain, that the United States is no longer what it was even, you know, 3 days ago. It is changed, and you know, maybe we'll see more jets go down, right? 4 is a lot. 4 is a lot. And it means operationally they're doing something wrong. if they keep shooting them down, I mean, like, don't fly there. Like, you know, like, go somewhere else. What is causing that? So yeah, I think we'll let you go. I mean, we'll have more for you, but that's what we got. That's what we know right now. And we'll continue to keep you guys updated as things go on. So thank you very much for joining us today for this Firebrand report. I appreciate you. Make sure you go and subscribe and support us on both of our publications, and keep an eye out for our work through Centered America as well as we do that. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Remember, burn bright.